Hey there, this is Work with Nature. We're going to go now and have a look at the bees. I have just discovered a hive, a bait hive that has now got a swarm in it, and I've just fed a colony my last honey, and so basically I won't be able to feed this colony. So it's kind of an emergency, and I'm going to have to feed sugar. And many of you know I hate feeding sugar, and I never normally do it. But in this case, rather than letting this perfectly good colony starve, it's a good colony because it was a swarm basically that I caught in autumn. I didn't know about it, and so it just didn't have enough time to build up enough honey stores. So I'm gonna go and feed it sugar. I'm gonna show you a nice little trick on feeding kind of sugar cubes. I'm gonna show you that. And also, just a quick note: don't ever feed shop bought honey, because a lot of honeys are kind of mixed together, and even if just one of these kind of honeys has got foul brood in it or any kind of disease, your bees are going to get it, and it'll be goodbye to your bees. So just a note on that. Okay, so we'll head off now to go and see the bees, and I'll see you in a sec. So I just asked for permission to raid somebody's supermarket's bin because they said there's actually newspapers in there, and I found them here. And it's always handy to have a good bunch of old newspapers for beekeeping. So we're going to take them now with us, and just a quick note on it. So we're here now with the bait hive. I'm going to take off the roof, and some of the bees are going to already maybe come at us. You'll see that oh no, that's pretty quiet. You see I left a couple of sugar cubes here on top of the crown board, so because I saw them last night, I noticed them last night, and I wanted to feed them straight away. There's a few bees actually on the sugar cube, and they've dissolved maybe a few of them. But what I really want to do, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about sugar cubes in a minute, it's just a really handy method if you're afraid that your bees have no stores whatsoever. You can just throw in a few sugar cubes. But what I'm going to use is this fondant, and basically this is designed for bees. It's very soft. Basically what can happen is with the sugar cubes, they have to actually go and get the water to dissolve it, whereas with this stuff here, it's already quite moist, so they don't really have to work as hard, So I'm just going to cut half of this. Now there we have the fondant, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a nice little strip out of it, and I'm going to put the strip then on that side, and we want to just make sure that it doesn't really dry out. That's actually the idea of it. Now we can stick that on there like that. So we have a nice little square now that the bees can really access. Okay, so the next step is we get our hive tool, and I recommend using one with a little hook on it, because they're kind of handy. You can kind of get under the frame and kind of lift it out. Don't get one with the kind of a scraper at the end, because you already have a scraper at the front. Now what you want to do is you want to open them ever so gently. And most of the bees should be clustering even today, because it's not that warm. And of course they're not, so a little bit of smoke probably would have been a good idea here. So you can see it's a nice strong colony, it's just they're really light. Okay, I have to be quick about this now because they're going to start attacking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the fondant right on top of the brood nest, and then place my newspapers right on top of the fondant. And these are great because they just kind of fit in right nice and tight. And then the next step is just put the crown box back on, And I'm going to have to, you saw that all the sugar cubes kind of fell off. What I have to do is I have to collect them all, because otherwise what we're going to have is robbing. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to actually making liquid feeds, sugar feeds, what we need is these kind of containers. They're really great. You can get them for free. You'd have to buy these ones. I just show you this one as an example. I've often used those and actually washed them out again, reused them. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to make some small holes into your lid. I use these kind of drill bits. You can use a pair of scissors or something like that, something pointy. And you only want to have like maybe a mil or so of a hole, and you make about 10, maybe 20 of these. Now the idea is just to have basically, you must have a snap-on lid because you don't want the actual sugar feed to actually leak all around the edges. So it needs to be quite tight, so test it beforehand. And you basically, when you turn it upside down, it creates a kind of a vacuum. You press out a little bit into a container when you're with your bees, and that just really ensures that you create your vacuum and you don't have any spillages, which is really important. Otherwise, you're going to have robbing or stuff like that. Now, to create the vacuum, sometimes I just kind of do it just above the hive. There's not too much. Sometimes comes out. Now, you just add your sugar. And what you do is you make it level, and you must make sure that you kind of have an imaginary line because you want a one-to-one feed, and you just remember roughly, you can mark it as well, where the sugar kind of ends, and you pour it up to that imaginary line, so even if you stick your finger in like that, and it's roughly there. And then all you got to do is you got to steer it. Now, using a bit of lukewarm water is a good idea because it kind of helps dissolve the liquid, the sugar. And you just kind of stir it away. And like often I've taken a kind of a drill bit to the bees with me, and that's kind of allowed me to shake, not make the holes at home. And that kind of allowed me to shake this mix and kind of shake it all up again.
It seems such a long
now this will be about a week or 2 weeks feed, especially if the queen is laying. That's all there is to it.